Well, hi there students, this is Mr. Verzat. Today's video is an orientation vid on grades. It's important for success in my classes that you understand how grading operates in my class. It's a lot different than the traditional method used by many other teachers at this school. For this video, we're going to define terms, I'll give you examples, and then break down other factors that impact your grade in the class. I use what's called the standards-based grading model. That's a non-traditional grading method, and its main goal is to show pure skill. Your level of skill is indicated by the height of your grade. The standards-based model means that there are no percentage points, no extra credit, and letter grades indicate skill levels. Now, the thing that the student creates, the assignments, those that go in the grade book are actually going to be the skills that a student demonstrates. Meaning, if an exercise or an assignment was to demonstrate shading, I wouldn't write down the name of the assignment, I would write down the skill that the assignment was trying to extract from the student. Now, in later exercises, because a lot of these skills compound on top of each other, I chunk grades together into more broad and general terms. After the student demonstrates, I take their demonstration and I compare it to a standard, and that defines their skill level. Effort is not factored into the grade. For some, it takes a lot of effort to even be able to do that. For others, it comes naturally, and for most, it's a mixture of both with just time and mileage. Here's a cool aspect. A future demonstration could, in theory, overwrite older demonstrations. The main factor in this is students generate their grades through their training and their demonstration, while teachers record evidence of them. Let's look at the two types of grades that go in the grade book. They're what are called formative grades and summative grades. Formatives are small checks for understanding. They're used to inform. They're used for the teacher to know things. They're used for the student to know things. They're used for the parent to know things. And their purpose ultimately is to drive future decision making. This could be a quiz. This could be a check for understanding. This could be a check for how well are they meeting a deadline. The point of this is that they're very small. They don't impact your grade very much. They're a reflection of what's going on inside your head. Summative grades can be likened to the big game that you've been training for. These bad boys are worth 85% of your grade. You typically have 1 to 3 summative entries per lab. Oftentimes, your formatives are an indicator of how well you will do on your summatives. If a student's formatives are low, their summatives will typically be low. Therefore, as a student, as a parent, and as a teacher, we all need to inform our decision making based on these little guys. Let's go into what it means to be in a skill-based setting. Skill is not generated passively. That means you don't just show up to class and fill a seat or check off the requirements. Muscle is not built up by reading a book about how to build muscle. Neither can a student dribble a ball and become proficient at it by watching videos about dribbling or reading about dribbling. Skill comes first from understanding, and that's tied directly to your conceptual understanding of a skill, your procedural understanding, and then finally, you can physically demonstrate. So whether you enter the class skilled or have to train yourself up from the bottom to become skilled, that comes from understanding, and then to build the skill comes from practice over and over, grinding out the mileage. To get better, you have to train outside of class, period. Now, let's define the grades. You all have different teachers, meaning an A in one class may not mean the same as an A in my class. So by understanding these differences and operating within them, you can achieve success. Let's start with just what they are. An A means exceeded, a B means proficient, C means nearing proficient, D means struggling, and F means failure. Let's start at the C and work our way up, and these are reflected in workplace norms for employability. My approach to grading is to get you ready for life and the workforce. Therefore, my grading methods will reflect basic workforce norms. A C-level student is able to demonstrate a skill or meet a need at what's called a basic level. A C demonstration is fundamentally correct, but it has minor visible flaws. We can see these flaws at a first glance, and they're minor. They do not compromise the piece. A C-level student can work independently. They don't require micromanagement from the teacher. For C-level work, at most, one objective is partially complete, yet attempted, And there might be some inconsistency throughout the work, meaning there's like a really high level of attention to cleanliness and detail on some parts, but it starts to fluctuate. A C-level student can recite at the definition level, but they can't strategize yet. C-level work is developing hygiene. It would not be considered show-worthy. And this is normal, especially with developing motor skill. A C-level beginner, having just picked up a basketball for the first time, is going to bounce it off their foot. They're going to miss. They probably have to keep their eyes on the ball at all times as they dribble. A C-level demonstration of cooking would have visible flaws in it, yet it would still be functional, edible. A basic understanding of a concept means that the major big components of it are all that are known. So for example, the Civil War, we might know that the North and the South fought. We might know why they fought and what the outcome was. Very general, very beginner, very basic. The B level is defined as mastery. Mastery means that a student is able to automatically demonstrate a skill. It's functionally correct with minimal errors, meaning I would have to look very close at the work to spot errors. We would not see them at a glance. Everything in the assignment was delivered, and it was delivered with emerging complexity. They're stepping out of basic and they're stepping into complexity. It would be show-worthy. I could use this as an example for future work. A student understands a concept globally. They can strategize and creatively problem solve with the skills. They don't require any questioning from the teacher per se. They might need clarification on maybe where to proceed, but we can just, with a little nudge, they would just get going on their own and really try some interesting things. So for a physical demonstration of dribbling, the student does not need to look at the ball as they dribble. It's become intuitive or second nature through their practice. They can start to drive. They can start to do everything that makes them reliable. They have a high success rate with this skill. When demonstrating a process, the student does everything to the letter. For understanding a concept, they have a global view now. The student for the Civil War not only knows the reasons why we went into it and who the key players were, but they know several battles. They know the economic factors that contributed to the Civil War. They might even know some of the propaganda behind it. That's generally the cap for someone who has started without any skill or training. The A level reflects employability in the workforce, especially with a competitive position. You need to be competitive in order to maintain employment. So an A means exceeded, meaning you delivered substantially more than was asked. And not only that, what you did deliver was at a high level of quality. In general, it's pretty obvious when you look at it. This is the work that when students turn everything in, they see those few on the table and everyone goes, whoa. A-level work is highly refined and highly complex. It ties multiple skill sets together. Oftentimes, these skill sets come from the student's personal study that happened from outside of the course. I might see skills that I have not covered demonstrated in the work. A student's understanding of a concept is so in-depth that they could tutor another student. A-level work explores outside the bounds of a demonstration, and it still meets those objectives. A physical demonstration for dribbling would look like this. The student was asked to dribble the ball, they dribbled, they drove, they slam dunked it. But this student, in order to be able to slam dunk, trained their muscles. They worked in the gym to build their hamstrings, their glutes, and all the necessary muscles to be able to jump high enough. They probably practiced a lot outside of their class in order to do this demonstration. And so that would be physical. A procedural demonstration would show a variety of skills operating outside of the requirements of the lab. Also, a conceptual framework or understanding at A level would be very complex. They could debate the opposing side of an idea. D level work is defined as struggling. A student at D level is unable to demonstrate a skill or meet a need at a basic level. Oftentimes this work is incomplete and up to one objective is fully left out. D-level work is typically very sloppy or non-functional. If it's required to stand on its own, it doesn't stand, or it needs some intense scrutiny to understand what exactly we're looking at. For concept, D-level work has what we call major knowledge gaps, meaning that the student is unable to work independently. Basketball, this could be anything ranging from unable to dribble to fully incorrect, meaning the student is trying to slam dunk away from the basket, right? So effort is not a factor in the demonstration, it's correctness. For a process means that a major step was left out or there was a major gap. This cupcake does not function. Understanding of a concept means major knowledge gaps. The Civil War is not understood because the key players are not understood. The machine does not work because many major gears are missing. And for F work, typically more than one objective was left out. It could be excessively sloppy. Generally, the student chose not to demonstrate, or they quit in the middle of a demonstration. Maybe they lost the demonstration, and with nothing to show, besides my memory of having seen them work, they earn half credit. If they cheated or plagiarized, that would be an instant 0. And sometimes students end up in this area on technicalities, which you'll see a little bit later. So for a physical demonstration, you typically have to do nothing. For a procedural demonstration, you have to have more than one step missed or major not attempted, and for a conceptual understanding you have literally no learning having taken place. In general, students that fall down to the D and the F level have done something seriously bad in terms of just general life skills or general student skills on a very broad level. Alrighty, let's look at standards that impact a skill entry. Some things on a technical level can impact that. If you have a demonstration that you're not happy with, you have the option to attempt a redo of the entire lab from scratch to prove mastery. That's approved on a case-by-case basis. I'll identify why it was at the certain grade that it was and what can be done to shore it up. Now, just redoing it does not guarantee a higher score. I've had students redo projects and they still have the same skill level. Incomplete demonstrations are automatically a D. Typically, I give work back that's incomplete so that you can earn a higher score. Oftentimes, it's better that your work is late than incomplete. Plagiarism negates a demonstration. That's an instant 0, and no, you may not redo the lab. This is where I deviate from the standards-based method. I teach vocational content, and in this industry, deadlines are critical. Many other people besides you are dependent on your creation. If you're late on your creation, they are going to be late, and it's going to have a domino effect that costs your client money. So to reflect the critical nature of deadlines in this industry, late work will always drop a skill level. If you did B-level work, but you chose to turn it in late, that will revert to a nearing proficient demonstration. So in general, this is the progression of student ownership throughout their educational career. Now, our goal in high school is to transition you into life and into college, meaning independence is a major factor. So if we start in elementary school, mostly everything is reinforced. You see the student has training wheels on so they cannot fall over. The teacher has their hand on the student to guide them. When students get into middle school, the goal is to transition them into becoming independent for high school. And so you see the teacher will alternate between hands-on and hands-off. Notice though, the training wheels are off of the bike. It's possible for the student to fall off at this point. And so when transitioning into high school, notice training wheels again are off, but the teacher does not have his hands on the student. The teacher is pointing and guiding. My role in high school is to point and to guide, which means I won't actively hunt you down if you choose not to turn something in. That's your job to know that. I'll make general announcements saying, hey guys, I'm missing many assignments. You probably want to check Hack to make sure that your work is turned in, but if you choose not to do that, that's on you. I'll make announcements on the cutoff for late work, which is typically the last 3 weeks of the semester. It's up to you to make sure your work is turned in there. I won't call you, I won't call your parents. I'll remind the class in general, and it's your job to be ready. Rubrics. This is from a page in your syllabus. A rubric is an objective measuring tool used to generate evidence for a skill level. If you're demonstrating time management, I will generally give you a pacing check grade that informs you how well you're doing at meeting classroom benchmarks and getting your work done. Production checks check the process, and note checks check your ownership of your education to preserve the knowledge that I impart to you. All right, let's take a look at some general traits per grade level that I see. Again, these are very broad. Not every student fits into these categories. There may be an A-level student that just has horrible things happen to them and it bumps them to a B. And there's always exceptions, all right? So take this with a grain of salt. A-level students enter my classes with a devoted love for the subject. They may already have extensive background and practice. I've had a handful of valedictorians that had zero experience train themselves up to an A, but that's rare. All right, most people who come into this class, they've got training as a hobby. Generally, A-level students are highly competitive and they strive to exceed their peers and their teachers' expectations. I see friendly rivalries a lot, and that is a major motivator. Career goals are oftentimes a motivator. Here's the biggest one I've seen with A-level students. They've got highly developed study skills and they've got very strong coping skills. That would be perseverance, delayed gratification, note-taking ability, global critical thinking skills. A B-level student has a strong desire to understand the subject. The A-level student has a devoted love, meaning they practice and they love it. A B-level student has a strong desire to understand it. And for whatever reason, that's up to them. It might be for grades, who knows? But they could have prior exposure and practice. It sure makes it easier to get a B that way. A B-level student is organized and they're prepared, always on task. They're intensely focused on what they're doing in the moment. They're not socializing. A B-level student is a detailed note taker and a strong critical thinker. They're strong study skills and a dependable, reliable work ethic. That means this person would be very reliable and this would be your supervisor as a high school student in an entry-level job. B-level students make mistakes, but they often self-correct. A C-level student, their main focus is to complete the work. Why they're here, why that focus is, well, I don't know. Oftentimes they're placed in the course or they're here for the credit. A C-level student could have some gaps in basic student life skills. There might be maturity issues. For example, they can't keep their mouth closed as they work. They may fluctuate in and out of classroom standards, meaning there's some expectations and responsibilities that they have that sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. They may have some behavior issues that get in the way of their success. Maybe they take some notes, or when they do, their notes might not be effective. C-level students sometimes could patch knowledge gaps with or without prompting. Most times it's with prompting. I have to tell students to go get the knowledge. They can't do it on their own. Common weaknesses are following directions, time management, and follow-through. C-level students often struggle in other classes besides mine. A C-level student is generally employable. They'd be okay at an entry-level job. If they were in a competitive job, they would be let go in place of someone else who is more effective at it. Now, I've blocked D and F together because they're pretty much the same. D's do something, F's pretty much do nothing. So a D-level student, the main focus is not the classroom. When they're here, that's not where their mind is. And a lot of it is tied outside of the classroom as well. There might be self-limiting behavior issues. Apathy means just don't care. Poor choices are common. They choose to operate outside of class standards. They need multiple prompts, and that's pretty common. You know, hey, put your phone away. Hey, get your work out. Hey, we're taking notes. Remember, you need to come to class on time. That kind of thing. Absenteeism is very common. Major knowledge gaps are a big deal, and that also comes back to, again, choosing to operate outside of the class standards. Incomplete or missing work are very common. Parental support is often lacking. Now, what do you see in the gradebook when I enter grades? Well, again, I don't use points or percentages, but the school's gradebook program does. It requires me to enter a numerical score. For an F, I either enter a 0 or a 50%. For a D, I give a flat 65. For a C, that's a flat 75. For a B, it's a flat 85. An A, I enter a flat 100. Lastly, follow through with reading this. Know it, because many of your briefs in the rubrics say refer to your syllabus. So let's model how to use your class website. Let's say you're in my Entertainment Design Advanced Level class. And here's all your assignments. You can click on either the picture or the words. And here's your brief. In the brief, it has what's called a rubric. That's the measuring rod that I use to determine evidence for your skill level. Now you're going to see that this one's pretty skinny. There's not much in here that's giving you anything objective to work with. That's because for this assignment, I'm referring to the generic standards in the syllabus for students to demonstrate their understanding. In most labs, you will have lab-specific definitions of what a B is, and those specific definitions refer back to the general ones. Let's talk about weighted grades. Not all grades are going to be equal in weight. Weights of each assignment will start to get heavier. This is to reflect your learning. This is to reflect how much you know and how much you are expected to demonstrate in your work. The higher your training and ability, the more you're expected to demonstrate. You can maintain your grade a whole lot more effectively. Also, it keeps you in the now, and it's common at the end of a race to watch people fizzle out. This adds accountability, meaning if you choose not to do some work at the end of the year that is weighted higher, that will have a more devastating impact on your grade. It motivates you to continue to achieve success. This is found in the workforce. Someone who's highly skilled and capable is entrusted with more to govern. Also, their salary is reflected by their skill level. People with a very narrow skill set generally can charge more for their services than people who possess a very general skill set that anyone can do. That's why doctors make so much, and people who flip burgers don't. This is the classroom structure, defining the roles of teacher and student, what we each do for success. What I'd like to refer you guys to is this top part, and for those at high skill levels, they reflect the following major focuses. The first is understanding. Before you focus on your grades, make sure you understand. Focus on understanding how this skill works. Consistent practice. You need to grind out mileage to become good at this stuff. Consistent attendance. If you miss class, something must be done to make up that absence. Otherwise, you will fall behind. Organization. Take good notes. Make sure everything's in one place and easy to find. That will speed up your workflow and make sure that nothing is missing. And finally, self-discipline. Where you're at in life means that you're going to have some tumultuous emotions competing with your intellect. Your desires need to be reined in for your success. Your desire to talk to your neighbor and possibly distract them or take away from your time and focus need to be reined in. Look at why you're here, what your purpose is, and if you want to achieve high skill levels, discipline your mind. As always, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys in class. If you have questions, feel free to contact me. Take care.